Honorable Uncle.
B1071, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I refer the Honourable Member to the reply made to the PNQ at the sitting of the National Assembly on Thursday, 27th of October 2022, by the Honourable Minister of Gender Equality and Family Welfare on the regrettable case of baby S, who is, as at date, still in the neonatal intensive care unit of the SSRN hospital. The House was, in that reply, made aware that, in view of the seriousness of the matter, the Honourable Minister of Gender Equality and Family Welfare has set up a fact-finding committee to assess whether all required protocols have been adhered to in this case. As regards the mother of baby S, Mrs. S.J.M., age 27, residing at B6 Robert Scott Street, Cité-la-Cure, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that 2 declarations had been made at the Abercrombie Police Station on Thursday, 15th of September 2022, and at the Line Barracks Police Station on Thursday, 3rd November 2022, respectively, by officers of the Child Development Unit. To specify, the first declaration was a pre-measure requesting the police to trace out Mrs. S.J.M. Despite all efforts of the CDU and the police, the mother was still untraceable, while in the second declaration, a case of child abandonment was lodged against the mother by the CDU on Thursday, 3rd November 2022, at the Line Barracks Police Station. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am also informed by the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family Welfare that on Thursday, 3rd November 2022, the CDU contacted the maternal grandmother of baby S to inquire about the whereabouts of Mrs. S.J.M. and requested her to bring her to the ministry for the necessary procedures to declare the baby. On Friday, 4th November 2022, the maternal grandmother accompanied her daughter, Mrs. S.J.M., to the tardy declaration of birth office of the ministry. On the same day, needful was done by CDU officers to draw the affidavit and petition for the mother to lodge a case at Portruis District Court with respect to the tardy declaration of the child. However, Mrs. S.J.M. hastily left the premises of the court when questioned about 2 other minors still under her care. As at date, the procedures for tardy declaration of birth have not been completed, and the advice of the Attorney General's office has been sought on the way forward. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am also informed by the Commissioner of Police that on Monday, 7th of November 2022, during the course of investigation, police arrested Mrs. S.J.M. After inquiry, she was provisionally charged with the offense of family abandonment in breach of Section 260, subsection 3 of the Criminal Code before Portruis District Court on Tuesday, 8th November 2022. Police objected to her release on bail, and she was remanded to police cell up to Tuesday, 15th November 2022. On Friday, 11th November 2022, Mrs. S.J.M. was released on bail after furnishing a surety of 3,000 rupees and entering into a recognizance of 20,000 rupees. She will appear court on Wednesday, 18th January 2023. The inquiry into the case is proceeding.
And actually,
Sir, can the Honorable Prime Minister provide information?
you have to raise your hand. It is not out of right. Read your standing order.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honorable Prime Minister provide information on the number of cases of child abandonment yearly from 2010 to date?
Be careful. Be careful. Please walk out from here for the rest of the day. For the rest of the day. For the rest of the day, God bless you. You're a great man. For the rest of the day, walk out. Yes. Well, it's you, it's you. Yes.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honorable Prime Minister provide information on the number of cases of child abandonment yearly from 2010 to date? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, the information that I have is in 2010, 141 cases, 2011, 162 cases, 2012, 128 cases, 2013, 137 cases, 2014, 63 cases, 2015, 54 cases, 2016, 79 cases, 2017, 68 cases, 2018, 75 cases, 2019, 58 cases, 2020, 46 cases, 2021, 55 cases, and 2022, that is as at September, 34 cases. Well, what we can note from these figures is that from 2010 to 2013, there have been quite a number of cases, but as from 2014, the number of cases have reduced. So we will have to study those figures and try to draw conclusions from these figures.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. La charge provisoire retenue contre la maman, nous comprenons que c'est l'abandon. Le Children Act, à la page 512, section B, décrit un place of safety, comprend un foster home, un couvent, un shelter, une institution charitable ou un hôpital. Et surtout que c'est une pratique, Monsieur le Premier ministre, c'est une pratique habituelle du ministère de l'égalité du genre de laisser les enfants qui ont été retirés dans leur famille pendant des mois et des mois dans les hôpitaux, sans surveillance. Expliquez-nous comment, dans ce tel cas, ce cas est considéré comme un abandon, mais quand le ministère laisse des centaines d'enfants dans les hôpitaux, il ne s'agit pas d'abandon. Merci.
Well, you are totally out of order because your question does not relate to this question that you have yourself put. I don't know I think you have to go for refresher course is no good. That is no good. You are raising issues which are totally outside the limits of this question that you yourself have put.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, souvent dans vos discours, vous dites que vous êtes un grand défendeur des droits de la femme. Et
No.
rien de mal dedans.
Excuse me. You have the right to put a supplementary question. A supplementary question is not a statement or an argument or a debate, whatever. Put your question straightforward.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, vous êtes un grand défendeur des droits de la femme. Ok. Vous avez l'occasion ce matin de le prouver. Ne pensez-vous pas que cette maman vulnérable, issue d'un milieu défavorisé, ne mérite-t-elle pas plutôt le soutien de l'État mauricien? Ne pensez-vous pas qu'il aurait fallu une approche plus humaine, comme par exemple un soutien à la parentalité, le parenting comme on dit en anglais, et un programme de réhabilitation et de insertion? Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Let me provide some information to the House and especially to the honourable member. Probably she's not aware. Mr. Speaker, sir, since the 5th of September, several home visits were conducted by authorized officers at B6 Robert Scott Street, Cité-la-Cure, to carry out an assessment on the family conditions, to decide on the nature of support. What?
Yes.
The Minister should not give the address of the lady in question. This is surely not right.
Okay.
If that is what you have done,
look.
I regret that you're doing so.
I listen to your point of order. Okay. Okay.
You want me to provide information to the honourable member who doesn't understand?
Published. I think you should, in all humility, say that you will not do so again.
Continue.
Well, the officers paid several visits to her home to carry out an assessment on the family conditions, to decide on the nature of support to be provided to Mrs. S.J.M. and her family, to enable eventual proper upkeep of her children. Yes, you can listen also to the answer, please. Yeah, you're shocked? No. Maybe you have to take some Xanax then.
Okay. I see the House in good mood. You continue.
But the latter did not want to cooperate, Mr. Speaker, sir. On 7th of September 2022, the matter was reported to the police to secure two more siblings of Mrs. M.S., deemed to be at risk in the custody of the mother at earliest possible. A DB entry 97/22 in respect of the need to locate the minor siblings with their mother, and to explain on the importance of child protection generally, was recorded at the Abercrombie police station. After several calls and visits, and I don't want to take the time of the House to say the dates on which the officers had been calling at the residence of the mother. And on the 4th of November 2022, the grandmother and the mother of the baby attended, as I stated in my reply, the tardy declaration section of the CDU. However, after completing the procedures of tardy declaration, when requested to come back to CDU for an assessment regarding the two minors in the custody of the grandmother, both grandmother and the mother left the court premises hastily, stating that they had other important tasks to attend to. The police was again requested to locate the mother so that a proper assessment of the latter's capacity to look after her children could be made and the support to be provided accordingly. And therefore, on the 7th of November, the police arrested the mother. Nevertheless, after the release of the mother on bail on 11th November 2022, officers of the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family Welfare and of the La Brigade pour la Protection de la Famille visited her on 12th of November 2022 to assess her needs for support. On 14th of November 2022, a psychologist of the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family Welfare attended her place to provide her with psychological support, but she stated that she was too tired and that she would attend the Child Protection Services of Port Reitz on the next day, that is, today, the 15th of November 2022, for psychological support. So, from what I've said, Mr. Speaker, sir, so far, I must say, it is clear that all the assistance that can be provided to this lady and to the children have been offered by officers, social workers of the ministry, and it is regrettable to say the least that this person is not cooperating. I must say, not cooperating at all.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. In his answer, the Prime Minister mentioned about the tardy declaration and also mentioned about the 2 minors. Can the Honourable Prime Minister provide the ages of those 2 minors and confirm to the House that the 3 children of the mother of baby S are not declared to the Civil Status Office? Thank you.
Well, I have the information. The Mrs. SJM is the mother of 3 other children, namely minor GEC, age 4, minor MELC, age 2, and minor KC, age 1. And I am informed that the births of the first 2 children were duly declared, whereas the birth of minor KC was not declared within the prescribed period of 3 months. And the case was referred to the tardy declaration of birth office of the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family Welfare. I can also inform the House that minor MELC has been placed in a foster family, while the 2 other minors are under the care and responsibility of their maternal grandmother.
Thank you. Can I ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether he has any information as during the time mother of baby S was under the custody of the police, whether during that time, whether she was subjected to any medical and psychiatric evaluation, since she has other 2 minors close to her responsibility? Thank you.
Well, I don't have this information. I need to find out from the police, and then I can obviously provide this information to the House.
Speaker, we have, in his reply, the Prime Minister has talked about tardy declaration of birth. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House on the current procedures regarding tardy declaration of birth?
Mr.
What is happening now? Continue.
Mr. Speaker, sir, let me be concise. The tardy declaration process, it starts only after 3 months of a child's birth. It comprises as many as 17 steps from the time preliminary inquiry is held to gather required documents and information till the parents finally attend the civil status office accompanied by a CDU officer for registration of birth and issue of birth certificate. It involves preparation and filing of affidavits, court procedures, police inquiries, and magistrates' orders.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. J'ai aussi parlé à la grand-mère. Et il n'a pas été question d'abandon, mais elle a pris peur. La maman a pris peur lorsque la CDU a commencé à la chercher, puisque nous tous, ce n'est pas un secret pour personne, que la CDU a retiré les enfants de manière brutale. Monsieur le Premier ministre, au lieu d'aider cette maman vulnérable, pourquoi on est allé chercher une loi, la loi 260, section 3, une loi sur les mœurs pour attaquer une mère vulnérable? Pourquoi?
En tout cas, Monsieur le Président, j'ai dit à la Chambre, le ministère a tout fait pour assister cette dame. À travers les officiers, le social worker, j'ai ample détail concernant les visites, l'assistance de la police pour retracer cette personne. Et les officiers et la police ont été au domicile de la dame et à plusieurs reprises ont rencontré la grand-mère qui n'a, je dirais peut-être pour conclure, elle n'a pas coopéré du tout avec la police et les officiers pour dire où se trouvait la dame. Et dans un cas pareil, le député est en train de venir dire à la Chambre aujourd'hui, au lieu, elle a pu parler à la grand-mère, ce qu'elle dit, elle aurait dû faire, peut-être, donner de meilleurs conseils à la grand-mère, parce que abandonnant un enfant, un bébé, croyez que c'est quelque chose comme si qui est correct, et que c'est maintenant la faute, c'est à qui? C'est pas à la dame, c'est pas à la maman. La faute, c'est au gouvernement. La faute, c'est au ministère de Gender Equality. La faute, c'est à nous maintenant. La faute, c'est à moi. Voilà quel genre de principe est en train d'être advocated by this honorable member. So, elle parle de loi, je ne sais pas quelle loi qu'on a été voir. La loi est la loi. Il faut respecter la loi. Alors, on ne parle pas de la responsabilité et l'obligation d'une mère ou d'un père de famille. Vous oubliez tout ça. Et tout ce que vous avez à faire, c'est de venir critiquer. Alors que, oui, nous avons notre responsabilité, nous sommes en train de discharge our responsibility. But there is also the responsibility of a mother, a father. So I hope when you will meet the family next time, vous allez donner de meilleurs conseils.
Before we proceed, let me announce that PQB 1072, 1084, 1079, 1091, 1077, 1083, 1076 have been withdrawn. Honorable 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Prime Minister state how it was established that Mrs. SJM was a drug addict?
Well, I don't want to, because, you know, I have been provided with information, but I obviously, let me only refer, because this is already in Hansard, I will only refer to what my colleague, the Minister Kunjusha, stated in her reply to the PNQ of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition. I quote one part of it, that the mother has a history of repeated termination of pregnancies. She had also been consuming alcohol, smoking cannabis, and injecting hard and illicit substances throughout her pregnancy, and had not followed antenatal care treatment at all. So I am just quoting from what has already been said in this House, because I don't want to dwell further, because I've been provided with other information, but I think it would not be appropriate for me to provide those information to the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I wish to come back to the arrest of Mrs. S.J.M.
Silence.
Can the Honourable Prime Minister state the reasons as to why the police objected to the bail of Mrs. S.J.M. in the first instance, and also inform on the conditions of her bail granted on the 11th of November? Thank you.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, from information that have been provided by the Commissioner of Police, the police objected to the bail of Mrs. S.J.M. in the first instance for the following reasons: that is, the risk of absconding, and secondly, interfering with witness. Now, on Friday, 11th of November 2022, the police waived the objection to the bail of Mrs. S.J.M., and she was released after furnishing a surety of 3,000 rupees and entering into a recognizance of 20,000 rupees. I understand that she will appear in court on Wednesday, the 18th of January 23, sorry.
You finish? Honorable Mayotte.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Nobody is raising, give me 1 minute, nobody is raising their hands here. And so what are you, ha? Order! Follow the principle of Parliament. Order. You have to raise your hand if you have questions. You have to catch my eyes, not my heart.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je suis d'accord avec l'honorable Stéphane Yanctil qui reconnaît que le Premier ministre est un grand défenseur des droits de la femme, et je ne voudrais pas porter de jugement sur SJM car nous ne connaissons pas vraiment les raisons de tout ce qui entoure sa vie. Mais ne faisons pas non plus de politique sur ce pauvre bébé qui a été abandonné à l'hôpital. Suite à cela, je voudrais demander au Premier ministre si Madame SJM a pris des nouvelles ou a demandé quelconque information sur le bébé qui est resté abandonné à l'hôpital depuis la naissance, c'est-à-dire le 27 juillet 2022. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that after Mrs. S.J.M. left G2 Hospital following her delivery, she neither sought any information on her baby, nor did she turn up to visit and take care of her baby. From Thursday, 15th of September 2022, when the CDU personnel filed a pre-measure declaration at Abercrombie Police Station, requesting police to trace out Mrs. S.J.M. to 4th of November 2022, when the latter called at the tardy declaration of birth office accompanied by her mother, she did not inquire on her baby a single instance.
Dernière question, vous voulez?
Je vous remercie.
Dernière question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House about the measures that has been taken since 2019 to cater and attend to emergency cases, situation regarding children in distress, as is in the case in the matter that is attracting our attention today in the House? Mr. Speaker, sir, in 2019, an integrated service center was set up in Phoenix and provided with 4 trained personnel to cater and attend to emergency hotline reporting of child abuse on 24/7 basis. In 2020, a child rehabilitative services was set up with a component of back to home, and in 2022, 3 additional child protection service offices were set up in Moka, Rosehill, and Plaine-Maillon. A 4th one in Triolet is forthcoming. I wish to highlight that the CDU is doing its job to attend to cases where children are in distress, and I believe we need to see how we improve the law and procedures to empower the CDU even more. I have already given, of course, instructions to situate that whatever improvements that are required following the difficulties that have been encountered by the CDU officers.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Est-ce que le Premier ministre pourrait indiquer à la Chambre, confirmer, que juste après la décharge de la mère de l'hôpital, elle a visité son nourrisson régulièrement? Il y avait des va-et-vient entre la mère et l'hôpital. Merci.
Well, je n'ai pas cette information, Monsieur le Président. J'ai donné suffisamment d'éléments qui m'ont été donnés par les autorités concernées pour que je puisse répondre à toutes ces questions.
Time over. Parliamentary questions. Mr. Amos.
B 1092.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the Mauritius Shipping Corporation Limited, which falls under the purview of my ministry, is a shipping arm of the government to service the entire island trade, thus ensuring shipping connection between Rodrigues, Agalega and the mainland Mauritius. The charter party agreement of the MV Black Rhino expired on 30th September 2022. However, I am informed that while proceeding to Oman for its planned dry docking, the MV Black Rhino left Port Louis on 8th October 2022 to reach Rodrigues on 10th October 2022 for one lost voyage with 164 containers of commodities to Rodrigues. Subsequently, pending the chartering of a replacement vessel to service Rodrigues, the MV Mauritius Tokecha took over the service for shipment of commodities to both Rodrigues and Agalega. In the light of the foregoing, the MSCL has taken all necessary measures to ensure that there is continuity of normal service delivery of all commodities, not only basic commodities to Rodrigues, as well as to Agalega, so as there is no shortage. Mr. Speaker, sir, since October 2022, the MV Mauritius Tokecha has already performed 4 back-to-back voyages to Rodrigues and 1 to Agalega, representing 507 and 98 of containers respectively, which have already been shipped to these islands. Another voyage to Rodrigues has been planned for tomorrow, comprising 80 containers of commodities and 60 containers carrying 48,000 pockets of cement to satisfy demand in Rodrigues. In a lapse of 1 month, more than 700 containers have already been shipped to Rodrigues, which is more than the normal consignments delivered to Rodrigues during similar period last year. I'm informed that up to 31st December 2022, the MSCL has scheduled the Mauritius Troketia to effect 4 additional voyages to Rodrigue and 2 voyages to Agalega. In this respect, some 400 additional laden containers will be shipped to Rodrigues. I'm further informed that a new charter party agreement would be signed by MSCL for the chartering of a vessel to service Rodrigue before the end of this month. Thus, the MSCL would have 2 vessels at its disposal to better service Rodrigues and Agalega Islands. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to reassure the House that my ministry has taken all necessary measures to ensure availability of all commodities to both Rodrigues and Agalega.
Before we proceed, let me announce that PQB 1103 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Development. B 1132 will be replied by the Honourable Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Local Government and Disaster Risk Management. B 1147 will be replied by the Honourable Acting Minister of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change. PQ 1133, 1127, 1140 have been withdrawn. Also, PQB 1146, 1139, 1115, 1141, 1148, 1124, 1130 have been withdrawn. Please continue.
Monsieur le ministre, pouvez-vous nous confirmer que au mois de novembre, il y a eu 3 voyages pour Rodrigue, dont un sans container, je parle du 16, du 23 et prochainement du 30 novembre, et qu'en décembre, il n'y a pas de voyage prévu par la Mauritius Troketia pour Rodrigue.
I just answered, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'm informed that 4 additional voyages has already been planned for Rodrigue for December, up to 31st of December. But anyway, as I informed that a new charter party agreement is on the way before the end of this month, I think the problem will be solved, if any.
Pouvez-vous confirmer à la Chambre que le Mauritius Troketia va être en servicing maintenance du 11 au 13 et que la société Afcon a été favorisée le 6 décembre pour effectuer un voyage à Agalega, et je maintiens qu'il n'y a pas de voyage prévu pour Rodrigue d'après le schedule de la MSC publié officiellement sur le site.
Mr. Speaker, sir, because we have only 1 vessel right now, maybe they have, there's a timetable which have been, I think the Honourable Member have been, this is changing with regard to the demand. But anyway, as I just mentioned that a charter party agreement is before the end of this month, so all this will be changed, obviously.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House where matters stand with the procurement of new shipping vessels for serving the inter-island or the Republic of Mauritius?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the new multipurpose cargo vessel being procured by the MSL, which was initially scheduled to be delivered in China in May 2023, unfortunately, in view of the prevailing sanitary restriction due to COVID-19 pandemic, considered as a force majeure, construction works have experienced significant delays, and the shipyard has apprised MSCL that the vessel is now expected to be delivered in China on or before September 2023, all going well, of course.
Honourable Minister, the Black Rhino has been off-hired since mid-October, and you had the tender to hire a new charter on the 22nd of October. Can you please let us know why is it that there was no replacement plan to serve Rodrigue while you were putting the Black Rhino off-hired? Because now you will understand that you're having the new charter at the end of the month, and the demand for Rodrigue is very high for the month of November and October. So do I take it that there has not been any replacement plan, since I maintain as well that the tender has been changed twice and we don't know now what is the rate of the new charter, whether it's going to be more expensive less expensive? What is the capacity of the new vessel to serve Rodrigues? Whether it's going to be more than the Black Rhino or less?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as I said, I'm informed that prior to the expiry of the Charter Party Agreement of the MV Black Rhino, MSCL did launch several expressions of interest, seeking offers from shipping companies for chartering of a multi-purpose dry cargo vessel to service Rodrigues. Unfortunately, they all have been unsuccessful, as none were found to be technically responsive. I'm also informed that bidding exercises have been unsuccessful also due to the fact that bidders have not been able to meet the key requirements that are essential to allow the vessel to enter the harbor of Rodrigues safely. Unfortunately, members, I think the member is aware that due to the specificity of the required cargo vessel being less than 115 meters to get access to the Rodrigues harbor, and also the 6.4 meters of draft also, and also to be able to carry the heavy fuel oil for CB. These are all key requirements, and such type of vessel are very rare. So we've been having so many unresponsive, responsive bids. So that has been the issue for the delay.
Honorable Abbas Ahmed, next question.
B1093.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that extensive consultations have been held since 2021 with all key stakeholders regarding the proposed amendments to be brought to the Protection from Domestic Violence Act. Subsequently, following those consultations, Mr. Speaker, sir, that were held with the various ministries and departments in respect of those amendments, government approval was obtained on the 21st of October this year for drafting instructions to be conveyed to the Attorney General's office. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Since this government is very caring about violence, domestic violence, can the Minister inform the House the time frame for the bill being brought to the House?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as I have just replied, drafting instructions were conveyed to the Attorney General's office on the 21st of October of this year. So the House will appreciate that the bill, being at the level of SLO, is imminently going to be presented at the level of the National Assembly. But before that, it has to obtain the approval of Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Can the Minister inform the House whether meeting with NGOs and stakeholders have already, are there any schedule for meeting with other stakeholders and NGOs?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as I stated in my reply, there have been extensive consultations that have been held prior to Cabinet approving drafting instructions to be sent to Attorney General's office. And I can reassure the Honourable Member and the House that yes, there have been consultations with all sectors and all stakeholders, including NGOs and civil society organizations. Sorry.
Next question.
B1094.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the National Gender Policy 2022-2030 was launched on the 8th of March this year by the Honourable Prime Minister. The policy has objectives. This policy, Mr. Speaker, sir, has as objectives to, among others, to ensure an effective and sustainable implementation of the gender equality principles in the development agenda, as well as to offer an empowering environment with a strengthening institutional framework to support gender mainstreaming and implement gender equality principles in all sectors. Mr. Speaker, sir, the first meeting of the National Steering Committee on Gender Mainstreaming was chaired by myself, and it was held on the 16th of August this year with the supervising officers of other line ministries and departments. The aim and the objective of that committee is to ensure that gender mainstreaming is permeated in all their policies and their programs. Thank you.
Can the Honourable Minister provide information with a specific objective and the modus operandi of the committee?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the objective, it's quite a range of objectives to be covered, so I'll name just a few, I'll cite a few important ones, salient one. Like I said, it is to ensure that all gender equality perspectives is taken on board in all policy and when programs are being devised. There are, Mr. Speaker, sir, like I said, the Interministerial Gender Technical Working Committee as well. And again, the main objective is to ensure that the recommendations of the National Gender Policy is being adhered to by all stakeholders.
Next question. Yes.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Due to the volume of work and high implications in the implementation of such a policy, does her ministry, can the minister state whether her ministry have high caliber officers as gender expert to carry out the work?
Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to reassure the House that the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family Welfare, in its capacity as a national gender machinery and as the lead agency for gender mainstreaming, will be devoting the requisite financial and human capital in order for the policy paper to be implemented. Should we require or feel the need to look further for help or consultations or any other assistance, we shall do so.
Next question.
B1095.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I shall reply to parliamentary question B1095 and B1109 at the same time, as they both relate to the same subject. The first Mauritian nanosatellite, namely Mauritius Imagery and Radio Communication Satellite 1, MEASAT-1, was launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, USA, to the International Space Station, ISS, on 3rd of June 2021. It was subsequently deployed from the ISS to space by a Japanese astronaut under responsibility of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, on the 22nd June 2021. Mr. Speaker, sir, the total amount spent by the Mauritius Research and Innovation Council on the nanosatellite project was 28,999,787 from July 2018 to June 2022. That is over a period of 4 years, which includes design and build of the satellite, capability building, and setting up of the ground station. I'm hereby tabling the detailed cost of the nanosatellite for information. The House may also note that the project benefited from the additional support of AAC Glide of UK in terms of training for designing and building of both the satellite and the ground station at no additional cost. Over and above that, Mauritius benefited from the support of Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency for the transportation of the nanosatellite from AAC Glide in UK to Japan, and from there to Kennedy Space Center in Florida, USA. The satellite was carried on board a rocket from Kennedy Space Center to ISS, and from there it was launched into space, again at no cost. Mr. Speaker, sir, the MRIC team controlled and operated the nanosatellite each time it was within the reach of the MRIC antenna on top of its ground station situated in a bend. Thus, the MRIC team has managed to capture some 50 images with the camera on board the satellite, which was orbiting in space at around 400 kilometers from Earth at a speed of 27,000 kilometers per hour. The House will also note that the nanosatellite was of a size of only 10 centimeter cube with a weight of 1 kg. Due to the size and weight restrictions, the first Mauritian nanosatellite had limited capabilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the status of the nanosatellite, it is to be highlighted that the lifespan of such a very small satellite is usually short, approximately 9 to 12 months. Accordingly, as predicted by calculations and simulations, the nanosatellite orbited the Earth for about 10 months, and on 19 April 2022, it re-entered into the Earth's atmosphere and started to disintegrate. The MEASAT-1, has enabled the MRIC team to acquire skills and knowledge on satellite design, development, testing, and verification, as well as controlling, operating, and troubleshooting a satellite in space. And I must mention here, Mr. Speaker, that this is the first time our team is doing that. Most importantly, Mr. Speaker, it has enabled the setting up and operation of a ground station in Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'll take one more minute because of two questions combined together. I wish to stress that the first Mauritian satellite was indeed a laudable initiative and achievement. Mauritius is among the very few small island developing states which has a space presence and propelled our country into the League of Space-Faring Nations, as NASA declared us. This achievement was widely recognized by the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs in its various communications and workshops following the deployment of the first satellite in space. The main objective of this first mission was to build capacity in space and satellite technology. This project was driven by local engineers, Mauritian engineers of MRIC under supervision of the ministry. This project has opened avenues for new collaboration in space industry and harnessing data, satellite data. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry and MRIC has already initiated actions to collaborate with ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization of India, and Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center of Dubai for more capacity building, satellite data sharing, amongst others, in the space sector and the satellite sector. Thank you.
Je vous remercie. Dans un communiqué datant du 8 juin 2021 du ministère en question, on peut lire "The data will be used for various purposes, including maritime surveillance, climate change adaptation, weather forecasting, and road traffic management." Sauf qu'aujourd'hui, nous entendons dans la réponse du ministre que le nanosatellite avait un limited capacity. Donc, j'aurais aimé des éclaircissements sur ces deux données contradictoires. Et j'aimerais savoir, justement, en termes de data capturée par le nanosatellite, l'honorable ministre peut-il nous dire où est-ce qu'il est sauvegardé et est-ce que ce data sera rendu public et en quoi cela aura été utile?
Mr. Speaker, sir, if the honourable member may share the communication you're referring to, June last year, I think you mentioned. I can have a look at it. I don't have it in my file here. Concerning the second part of the question, where the data has been captured, the data has been captured at the ground station of the MRIC at Eben. And the data is public because everybody, Mr. Speaker, sir, that has knowledge on radio communications, for example, the Association of Radioamateurs, those data can be captured. And those data are can be of various types. It's very technical, it can take some time to explain, but all those data can be captured if you have an antenna and you know how to manage satellite data in your computer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now that the nanosatellite is no longer operational, may I know from the Honourable Minister what will happen to the ground station and its associated staff?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as mentioned in my reply, that the space technology, the space sector, is indeed a very interesting one for our youth. And the ground station is here, so that now my ministry and MRIC is collaborating with other high-profile institutions, like I mentioned, ISRO of India and MBRSC of Dubai, so that there could be more development in our sector, so that tomorrow those young Mauritian engineers that have been trained into this field could also use the ground station if we have another satellite in the future. Of course, it does cost a lot of money to have a satellite. That is why we are collaborating with international and foreign countries to be able to do more for the future.
Merci. Justement, le ministre parlait de formation. Qu'en est-il du capacity building? Dans sa réponse au député, l'honorable Patrice Armance, en avril, il était fait mention du AAC Clyde Space et que ce AAC Clyde Space avait assisté the MRIC in designing and building of a satellite, both through online communications and on-site training. L'honorable ministre peut-il nous dire combien de personnes exactement ont été formées?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we have 2 engineers, Mauritian engineers, who were trained and had cross-exposure from AAC Clyde Space, but not only AAC Clyde Space, we had good collaboration and training facilities from Japan, that is the JAXA, and also from ISRO in India. For the past few years, these young engineers have been provided continuous training with all those international institutions.
Dans la réponse du ministre, il nous a mentionné un chiffre, si j'ai bien entendu, 50 images qui ont été capturées pendant ces 10 mois. Puis-je demander au ministre de faire de sorte que ces 50 images soient publiées? Alors j'ai vérifié, il y a quelques heures, probablement ce matin, le website spacemauritius.com a publié 8 images qui n'étaient pas encore sur le site hier soir. Donc puis-je demander au ministre de faire le nécessaire pour que la totalité des images puissent être partagées publiquement? Merci.
Avec plaisir, Monsieur le Président.
Last question.
Monsieur le Président, je suis un peu choquée d'apprendre qu'uniquement 2 ingénieurs ont été formés dans ce domaine pour un montant de 15 millions. Selon la dernière réponse de l'honorable ministre, en avril 2022, ce on-site training tournait autour de 15 millions. Mais je vais passer à une autre question. J'aimerais savoir de l'honorable ministre s'il existe un deuxième projet d'envoyer un satellite dans l'espace.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we are talking about space technology. Space technology is really, how would I say, very complicated one and technical one. And I should refer to the honorable member to the same reply of the 19th of April 2022, where I said that the MRIC engineers benefited from training worth of 15 million. They did not pay for that training. They have received it by our good collaboration and good relationship we have with other institutions. And I refer the honorable member to the second paragraph, 4th line of my answer, saying that MRIC had benefited from the collaboration we had, and the engineers were trained in various aspects of that technology, be it the building, be it the design, be it the, how to manipulate it, be it how to capture images over the past few years, and that training worth around £300,000 over the 4 years.
The table has been advised that PQB 1128, 1137, 1126, 1136, 1147 have been withdrawn. I will now suspend the sitting for 1 hour.